Weyland Yutani is perhaps the most well-known corporation in all of science fiction, existing in both the Alien and AVP universes, where the company was responsible for one of mankind's greatest achievements in reaching out to the stars, and possibly their greatest mistake by experimenting with the alien known as Xenomorph XX121. The Weyland side of the company is well known and has been explored with Charles Bishop Weyland of AVP and Peter Weyland of Prometheus. But their other half, Yutani, has remained secretive, with its leaders preferring to lead from behind the scenes. Until now, that is, when we take a closer look at Hideo in the many versions of Ms. Yutani. Before we begin, it's important to note that the Alien universe and the AVP or Alien vs. Predator universes are not connected. Now, AVP was initially canon to the Alien franchise, but it and AVPR's poor reception had their status revoked, with the prequel films later taking their place. Either way, it was the initial Alien vs. Predator film that would put a lens on the Yutanis. Early on in its writing process, there was a point where Yutani would have appeared as a male, going by the name of John, and played by Peter Weller of RoboCop fame. And he would have acted alongside Lance Henriksen as Charles Bishop Weyland, bringing the two heads of industry together, but the director, Paul Anderson, would remove John from the story to instead focus on a smaller cast. However, for the film's follow-up, AVP Requiem, released in 2007, Yutani would get added back into the script, though now he would be a she, known only as Ms. Yutani and played by Francois Yip.
The world isn't ready for this technology.
But this isn't for our world, is it, Ms. Yutani?
It was quite the setup, the first of which to put a face to a Yutani, but the scene was meant to be much more than an introduction of a future business partner. With the Predator plasma pistol now in the hands of Ms. Yutani, her people would reverse engineer the device, opening the door to future technologies like faster than light travel, hypersleep, and atmosphere processing stations. With 2018's The Predator, Ms. Yutani was originally slated to return. Francois would even return to film new scenes in character, but unfortunately, they were not used in the final cut, though we did learn that her intended first name was going to be Colin. Meanwhile, the Alien universe had kept quiet on its own Yutani, or Ms. Yutanis, until recently, that is. It was originally reported in the Weyland Yutani report that Weyland Corp would absorb Yutani in 2099 to become Wei-Yu. But the details of the merger are officially updated in 2017's Alien Covenant prequel novel Origins by Alan Dean Foster, where Yutani's company founder, CEO, and initial president, a man named Hideo Yutani, would, after the death of Peter Weyland on the ill-fated Prometheus mission, orchestrate a merger with Weyland Corp, giving us the Weyland Yutani Corporation. One of the first missions that he would oversee within the newly combined company would be the Covenant mission, though he most likely died before they set foot on Planet 4. He is survived, though, by a daughter, Jenny, but we'll get back to her in a moment. Fast forward to 2019 with the release of Alien Blackout, and we're introduced to another member of the family in Naoko Yutani, an executive director for the company. Taking place in the year 2137, Blackout plays out the exploits of Amanda Ripley following the events of Alien Isolation, where she is tasked with guiding a small group of people to safety on the Mendel space station during a xenomorph outbreak.
Alright, I need to switch access points again. Before I go, I just wanted to ask, are you the Miss Yutani?
Merely her second cousin. It is a powerful name to bear, with many responsibilities.
Gotcha.
The Ms. Yutani spoken of here appears to be a leader, if not the current CEO of the company, with Naoko noting that her famous relative is a true visionary and easily a match for Mr. Weyland. We would finally get a look at one of Alien's Ms. Yutanis in late 2022 in the one-shot comic Aliens Aftermath. Made for the 35th anniversary of Aliens, Aftermath would pick up in the year 2214 with Cutter Vasquez, a nephew of Jeanette Vasquez, who is looking for answers about her death. As part of an anti-Weyland Yutani group of radicalized journalists called Renegade XM, he would board a Wei-Yu fueling station where the group would steal intelligence on Vasquez and her involvement on Acheron or LV-426. Following up on the lead and now on the moon, they continue their search, and when tapping into the mother computer, a hologram appears featuring none other than Ms. Yutani, acting as an interface. She tells him that Carter Burke left a message that in case of his mission's failure, a Subject 0 could be found on sublevel F. But she also warns them that all attempts to contain the specimen have so far been unsuccessful. Subject 0 is one of the original colonists of Hadley's Hope, and the first known infection of Xenomorph XX121, and he was frozen on orders from the company to quarantine and preserve the threat. As it turns out, Cutter is not only here for his lost relative, but he's also here for Subject 0 on behalf of the Extrasolar Colonization Administration. They've given Cutter intel on the mission in exchange for Zero, and Ms. Yutani is now onto him. When you plug the data drive from the fueling station into your vessel, you began broadcasting on a closed circuit, monitored by Weyland Yutani. We understand the deal you've made with Extrasolar, and we'd like to counter. You're the nephew of Private Vasquez. You have the opportunity to carry forward her legacy, to complete her mission. If you deliver the cold storage specimen to us, we will not only double Extrasolar's offer, but will wipe clean your criminal record. This is an especially generous offer, considering that we currently have control of your ship. You're not getting off LV-426 without us. But it didn't matter. Nothing was getting off of Acheron today, with or without the company's assistance. The aliens saw to that. Meanwhile, in an unknown meeting room, Ms. Yutani can be seen now in person addressing some executives. Ms. Yutani, I realize this is a sensitive matter, and I realize that you wanted to handle it personally, but the board isn't going to be pleased about this loss. To which she replied, "Loss? Renegade XM is finished, and a specimen still remains. The story is hardly over." So for now, the AVP side of the family tree only contains Ms. or Yutani. Yet with Alien, we now have Hideo, Blackout's Naoko and Ms. Yutani, along with the Ms. Yutani from Aftermath. And those last two most likely aren't the same person, as the events of Aftermath take place 77 years after Blackout. But it is possible that Jenny, the daughter of Hideo that I mentioned earlier, by age at least, could be the Ms. Yutani from Alien Blackout. The Yutanis were set to make an entrance into the world of Alien early on in the writing and brainstorming process for Alien Engineers 1 and 2, drafts and ideas from John Spates that eventually became Prometheus and Covenant. I'll leave a link to that and another video here if you want to know more. Otherwise, thanks for watching, take care, and I hope to see you next time.